You know this face. For thousands of years, the Great Sphinx has stared out over the Egyptian desert. It's probably one of the most famous statues in the world. But what if we've been looking at it all wrong? What if its biggest secret isn't what it is, but what it's hiding?
Yeah, really think about that for a second. We're going to dive into some seriously compelling evidence that suggests this ancient wonder isn't just a statue, it's a lock. And maybe, just maybe, the key has been lost for millennia.
Okay, so let's get the basic facts down first. This thing is massive. We're talking 73 meters long, 20 meters tall, and get this, it's all carved from a single chunk of limestone bedrock. Insane, right? It's got the body of a lion, the head of a human, and it just sits there, staring east towards the rising sun. For centuries, people just thought, wow, cool statue, and that was pretty much it.
But then, not too long ago, that simple idea started to crack. Researchers began asking a much more interesting and, honestly, a kind of unsettling question. What if the most important part of the Sphinx isn't the part we can see at all? What if it's what lies buried right underneath its paws?
And this is where the mystery really kicks into high gear. It all starts with a geological bombshell, a clue that could literally rewrite history as we know it.
So here's the deal. The official story we've all been told is that the Sphinx was built around 2500 BCE. The weathering you see, they say that's just thousands of years of desert wind and sand. But a geologist named Dr. Robert Schoch came along in the 90s, took one look at the deep, vertical grooves on the Sphinx's body, and basically said, no way. He argued that this doesn't look like wind erosion at all. It looks like water erosion from tons and tons of rain over a very long time. And here's the kicker. The last time the Giza Plateau was that rainy was before 5000 BCE. That would make the Sphinx thousands of years older than the pyramids.
Let that sink in for a moment. If he's right, this monument predates the ancient Egyptians we associate it with. It was built by a mysterious, long-lost civilization we know almost nothing about. And that leads to the biggest question of all. If they built this colossal guardian, what on earth were they trying to protect?
Okay, so with this crazy new theory out there, the hunt was on for some real, physical proof. It was time for science to step in and see if it could peer right through solid stone.
So how do you even do that? Well, they use something that's basically like a giant ultrasound for the Earth. You send sound waves down into the ground, you measure how they bounce back, and those echoes let you create a kind of 3D map of whatever's hiding down there. And you will not believe what they found. The scan showed a few odd spots, or anomalies, but one was just impossible to ignore. A large, perfectly rectangular chamber sitting right there, right underneath the Sphinx's front paws. You know, Mother Nature doesn't really do perfect rectangles. This thing screamed man-made.
And look, this wasn't just some fluke. A few years later, in 1996, a completely separate team from Japan did their own scans. And guess what? They found tunnels and cavities too, including one that seemed to be heading straight for the second pyramid. The scientific case for something being down there was getting stronger and stronger.
All right, if you thought that was weird, hold on, because this is where the story goes from a scientific mystery to an unbelievable coincidence, where modern science collides with an old prophecy. Meet Edgar Cayce. He was an American psychic, often called the Sleeping Prophet. Now, way back in the 1930s, decades before anyone had even dreamed of ground-penetrating radar, Cayce made this wild prediction. He said that a hidden hall of records, filled with the lost knowledge of Atlantis, was hidden in a chamber right underneath the Sphinx.
And this is the moment that gives you chills. Just look at this. On one side, you have the psychic's prediction from the 1930s, a hidden hall of records beneath the front paws. And on the other, the scientific scan from 1991, a large, man-made chamber detected beneath the front paws. Is that just a 1 in a billion coincidence? I mean, maybe, but you just can't ignore it.
So let's recap. We have a geological theory that rewrites history. We have scientific scans from two different teams finding a chamber. We even have a crazy old prophecy that pinpoints the exact same spot. The next step is obvious, right? Just drill a little hole, send down a camera, and let's see what's in there. Well, turns out it's not quite that easy.
Because despite all of this mounting evidence, the official answer from the Egyptian authorities has been a consistent, firm no. Every single request to excavate, to drill, to even just take a tiny peek has been denied. The door, it seems, is staying locked.
So what's the official reason?
Well, they say the Sphinx is just too old and fragile to risk any kind of drilling. They also argue the scientific evidence just isn't a slam dunk. And, those could be perfectly valid reasons. But it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Is it really about preservation? Or is there another reason they don't want to open a box that could completely change our understanding of human history?
And that's where we are today. The evidence points to a secret sealed beneath the stone. The people in charge refuse to look. So we're all left with this massive question mark. If that chamber is real, what did its ancient builders hide inside that was so important it needed the world's greatest guardian to watch over it? What kind of knowledge is so powerful, or maybe so dangerous, that it has to stay buried for all time?